Welcome to the HR Happy Hour Work Break. You're here with Trish and Steve. Hey, Steve Bose.
Hey, Trish McFarlane. Happy Monday. Good
Happy
start to the week,
Monday.
I hope.
Yeah, and you know what? It's exciting. Today is Mental Health Monday.
It
So I've
is.
been looking forward to this all week, actually.
Yeah, me too. It's been fun to focus on mental health over these last few weeks in partnership with our friends at Oracle. We've been writing about it, doing Alexa shows. I did one this morning about today's topic, and we're looking forward to some other things coming out soon, all related to mental health at work in partnership with those guys. And super fun. I think today, Trish, we wanted to talk a little bit about one of the really interesting pieces of data that Oracle unearthed in that AI at Work study that was conducted last year, which was how people are sort of open and willing and maybe even preferring to some extent using technologies in support of mental health, both sort of directly and even indirectly, which I thought was really interesting. And the one stat that really stood out for me was here it is: 68% of people, Trish, said they would prefer to talk to a robot over their manager about stress and anxiety at work. And then 80% of people are open to having a robot as a therapist or a counselor. So I get it in a way, but I'm a little surprised the numbers are so high.
Once I thought about that, I actually think maybe it is a little bit based on generation. And I know that, please, if you haven't seen the Oracle report, go to oracle.com and look up the AI at Work study because they have so many details in there. But I can tell you, I mean, I'm a Gen Xer, and I think there is enough of a stigma still attached to speaking about just struggling, right? Needing some sort of an assistance with regard to your mental health that I can see. For example, I would feel more comfortable, I think, going to, some sort of online resource or online person or an app or something like that, maybe an online counselor, before I would go to my manager at work. I somehow would still feel like that might be seen as a weakness that could be used against me. And maybe that's what other people are experiencing too. It's that feeling that you're going to be judged maybe by someone who knows you or
Yeah.
has kind of skin in the game. And like if you're in an online resource or if you're in an online relationship with a therapist or something, maybe there's a little more, I don't know, just distance. I don't know. What do you think? Would you?
I think so. Yeah, I think I'd agree with all of that. And I also think too, like thinking about some of the managers I've been working for over the years, like I would say there's no way these people are even remotely qualified to
Right.
help me with any kind of stress or anxiety. Now, they may be able to help with some more direct kind of workplace drivers of stress and anxiety. And we could talk about
Sure.
that in a second. So maybe it's workload, maybe it's task management, maybe it's
Right.
inner team dynamics. And I think sometimes when we're talking about mental health and mental health, how it's influenced by things at work, I don't think we're just talking about classic mental health symptoms or diagnosis even, right? Just
Oh, I
something,
agree.
even something like, somebody told me today, I won't say who, I was on a call with this person and they're on the West Coast, right? It's
Okay.
Monday, and the call was 11 a.m. my time, East Coast. And so
Okay.
the first thing I said to this person was, hey, wow, I didn't realize, I know you're in California, wherever, this is super early for a Monday morning,
Right.
thanks for doing it. I apologize. I didn't realize, I wouldn't, that's kind of
It's a little early.
not a move I
I
like
know.
to call on people at 8 a.m. Monday morning meeting,
5,
kind of
6.
thing.
Yeah.
So the person said to me, oh, don't worry about it. I've been going for a while. Our new staff weekly team meetings are 7 a.m. on Monday, her time. Right. That's what she told me. I'm like, oh my God, that's brutal. And look, it's a silly little example. I'm having fun with it a little bit, but magnify that over and over again. Right.
Mhm.
And whether
Yeah.
it's overwork and burnout or just bad tools and technologies where you can't find information easily, you can't find the right person to talk to in the company who knows about topic XYZ, that's a mystery to you, right? Because you don't have a
Right.
good knowledge management system or collaboration tool. There's so many ways that things that happen at work can create these additional little stressors. You like to talk about micro experiences a lot, Trish, right? Think
Mhm.
about all these little bad experiences, if they're happening in the workplace, how they can contribute to with everything else going on in the world, right, that we're also aware of, right? And we don't need to remind everybody of that. It really can contribute to some of the numbers that we see here about stress and anxiety in the workplace.
I think you're right. I mean, when we think about things that kind of push people over the edge, and whatever that edge is, like I'm glad you mentioned either diagnosed or undiagnosed, because I think there are probably so many people who have never been diagnosed with anything, but yet, we all have moments that we struggle. That's just a fact. And so I think of like the straw that broke the camel's back. That's all, it's just what you go back to. That's what it is. That's what those micro experiences are. And if you're just, it's that one more little thing, it's that one more little thing. And you feel like you can't give enough. There just isn't enough. And yet we're not recharging. And now with so much, again, uncertainty, we don't do well with uncertainty when, whether about your health or the world at large or whatever. So yeah, it weighs on us. And I don't know. I definitely think that it's good to see that at least technology and our reliance on that is an option for people that might have not had an option before this was available, right? So even 10 years ago, that might not have been a big option. Now you can help your employees who aren't as comfortable going to an actual person or their boss. And to your point too, maybe a boss isn't qualified. Maybe they have no desire to have those conversations. So you're going to give your employees something else to help them along the way. I think that's beneficial.
Yeah. And I think we just in general, right? And it's so funny, Trish, one of those shows I did last week, you were caught up in the snowstorm, I think. And so I had to do a solo show last week one day. And I talked about—
I was stuck in snow.
I talked about the Alone Together book that we did the podcast on 10 years ago to that day. And the funny thing is I thought about that book some more, and I'm thinking about it in light of some of the information here in the Oracle AI at Work study, which is our expectations for technology. Way back 10 years ago, the subtitle of that book is, why we expect more from technology and less from each other, right? So it wasn't specifically exactly about the same topic, but the undercurrent of we're expecting our technology to do more for us is really clear in the through line between that book and this study, where employees are really looking towards tools and technologies to support them in the workplace beyond just the actual work tasks, but actually support them overall. I think it's fascinating because sometimes we think technology will make technology better. And I think sometimes we're going the wrong way at work, where it's like, oh, now we've got a tool that you can be tethered to 24/7, right? And you never have to leave, right? We'll put your email on your smartphone or Slack or Teams or whatever you use that never stops beeping all day long, right? Or, oh, we've got we upgraded our Zoom license. Now it's better. I'm not sure, like those things are good, I guess, but that's not the whole picture, right? And I think we need to understand, really think thoughtfully as HR leaders and really business leaders about how the technologies our employees have to interact with all day long, every day, right? What's the real impact on their lives? And I don't think we do enough. I think we only think about it narrowly. We think about productivity and efficiency and some of the metrics around it. I don't know.
I will say too, though, I think that it depends on where your focus is. You're right. We do focus on productivity, and having been a boss many times over different sizes of groups, all the way from 10 to 250-ish employees, personally responsible for. I mean, I feel like once I figured out not to focus on their productivity, but to focus on them as humans, or at least even in the larger groups, on the individual supervisors that reported to me, it was more about if you show them care and concern, if you show them like, hey, you can, at this time we weren't all working from home. Okay. And I'd be like, hey, work from home some, get a different perspective, get out in nature, work in nature, go to the lake, go to whatever. The productivity, the result was that it rose. Right. Yeah. But again, I wasn't focused on something that was going to raise productivity. I was focused on something that was going to help my employees feel happier and more satisfied and less burnt out. And when you did those things, the result is often higher productivity, more engagement.
Yeah, I think that's a great example. And I think it gets tricky because there's another side of that coin, I think, which is valid, which says a person, when they are more productive and achieving and getting more things done, maybe getting these things done more easily, working a little bit less to get the same things done, that makes you happy too. Right. Generally speaking. Yes. So it's tough because it's kind of, you can approach it from both ways. But I think where we've gone wrong is on that productivity first approach. We've just let that go crazy overboard, right, over the years. Like and especially through the pandemic. And that's a lot of what's the undercurrent, I think, behind some of the data that the AI at Work study surfaced up last year.
Yeah, I agree. I participated in something today, and as small business owners like we are, we only have the ability to train ourselves, right? We have to sort of take care and look after our own well-being. And you and I'll admit, we are not always the best at that, right? We have definite times where we get way overloaded and don't sort of take the moments. But today I actually signed up for something and it's still available online. It was free. It was, have you heard of Jamie Kern Lima? Do you know who she is?
I have not.
She is the CEO. It's called It Cosmetics, and it's a division of L'Oreal. She's actually their first female CEO of
Where I get all my cosmetics.
Right? No, but she's a very motivational type speaker or whatever. So anyway, she has this event. It's just if you go to becomingunstoppable.com, and the whole event was called Becoming Unstoppable. I'm assuming she's going to have like replays because I did work today. I had other things to do, but the one I wanted to mention, and this gentleman is on YouTube. I checked to make sure. His name is Brendon Burchard, Burchard, Burchard. And he was talking about how we're struggling. And he said, kind of approach it like from a mental wellness perspective, like honor the struggle. And that meaning like, instead of trying to pretend like there's something wrong with us if we're struggling, which we often do. We think we're the only ones somehow. He said, especially times like this, but anytime, expect there are going to be struggles. So just expect it. So it's not a surprise. It's not something negative necessarily. And then you automatically put yourself in a mindset to work through struggle and that it's okay.
Right.
And maybe, so it's almost like you have to retrain your brain. So for example, if I'm struggling, it would retrain myself to be able to approach you as my colleague, my coworker, my boss, whatever, and say, look, I'm working through something. So it gives you a little more power instead of just coming to your boss and saying, I'm struggling. I can't work.
Yeah.
Maybe that empowers both the individual and maybe that empowers the manager, the supervisor, the leader, right? I think your reaction would probably, even if you felt ill-equipped, you're not a counselor, but if I came to you and said, oh, I'm struggling, I can't work, you might be like, well, what, we've got a deadline or we've got, you might have a million things. If I came to you and said, hey, Steve, I'm struggling with some stuff and I'm trying to work through this and here's kind of what I'm doing. You might then, as my boss, say, hey, you know what? I totally appreciate that. Thanks for coming to me. Why don't we just say, kick off early today or the next few days, or you would feel more empowered than as the recipient of the news to help me through my struggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I guess my point is, if you're listening to this, it's something to look into. Becoming Unstoppable. She had lots of really good CEOs and other, well-known speakers on there, motivational type speakers. It's free. But that was one I definitely would look up. Brendon Burchard. He was, it was just very good. I hadn't really thought of it that way. And so I thought empowering yourself actually can empower your manager, supervisor, boss, whatever. So
cool.
Anyway,
good
thought
stuff.
it fit with today's topic.
Yeah. Last thing, Trish, for me, today is National Margarita Day. To change the subject.
I heard that.
I don't have a margarita. I have a soda, but maybe after the show, we'll see.
You should go have one. Yeah. I haven't had one. Maybe I should go after work.
After work.
Do you know what I'm doing though after work? It's cooking right now. I am
Knitting
making
a sweater.
turkey. I'm roasting a turkey.
There you go. Happy Thanksgiving.
Because happy. Yeah. You know why? Here's why. Because when you're at Thanksgiving time and you smell that turkey cooking, like it just gives you good comfort feelings.
It's good time.
We can all use more good comfort feelings, right? Go make a turkey. It's so easy. So anyway, I'm having turkey tonight.
All around.
All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you for listening. Please share this with your friends. Obviously, check out the Oracle AI at Work study. It is a free study for you to download. It has lots and lots of great information. You can also catch the HR Happy Hour on Alexa episode that Steve recorded, which kind of dives into some of these statistics a little bit more. And we are going to be having some infographics and other things coming out soon in partnership with Oracle and Oracle HCM to help bring that information to you. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you back here tomorrow.